the sheep. You can't deny me the sheep. I know when they're there, Lidical. As we are in, and it looks like it is going to be an Abbasid-themed map. It kind of feels weird seeing this terrain on Altai. I feel like it's always the lush greens of the highlands. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, but good to have a change up in scenery with a different biome every once in a while.
Nah, I don't know. I want my green back. I can't.
Okay, fine.
This is bias against PuppyPaw. clearly, we're just saying Puppy's going to win. Nah. I don't think it's that simple. I think we already highlighted the English. They are a fiercer opponent they used to be, especially on this map, because I feel like the English benefits a lot from condensed battlefields because it's much easier to outpost lock your opponent in, right?
Yeah. A couple other things that have changed about this map recently is there's a lot more wood on the map, which can be very nice for English later in the game. You know, those longbows are very wood heavy. There's also it's also harder to get good value out of the deer on the map now compared to before, which for English, they don't care at all, but the opponent does care. And so if it's a little bit harder for the opponent to get the hunt, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to make up the difference that English gets from those better farms.
Yeah, but this is where the matchup can be a bit interesting, right? Because the Abbasid player, you know, they don't tend to go seeking the deer. It's not like a Rus opponent, but it might be that he wants to at least go on the initial deer. They are usually close enough to your base that they're worthwhile. Yeah. Notice that VortiX is ahead of his base if he was to go deer. I'm not expecting it. That's why I think like this layout, like, is a little bit English beneficial is because the deer are spawning towards your opponent's side, so it does strip an option away. And it might be that PuppyPaw has to go on those deer simply because of the nerfs of the berry bushes, right? They used to stack up to 500 food when you put a mill next to them. Now it's only 350.
Yeah, it's definitely caused Abbasid and Delhi to both think about where they're going to go for their food, whether it's going to be going to hunts a little bit more than they did before, or trying to switch to farms a little bit earlier.
PuppyPaw. I just love that noise they make whenever they build the House of Wisdom. Aha! Like, it's the perfect noise. Like, we are wise now. It's like, yes, well done. And it looks like PuppyPaw, he's going to begin his tech up. Meanwhile, VortiX, I think he's going for the delayed feudal. You can see he's already researching the wheelbarrow. Usually the way this works is you build between 4 to 8 farms, depending on how greedy you want to be. And then usually you try to crack feudal between, like, I'd say 5.5 to 6.5 minutes. It's a lot of sheep as well, so yeah, he's pretty cozy either way. And it looks like we are getting the patented VortiX build, as you can see by the bushels to each side of the town center there.
Yeah, you were talking about this a little bit earlier in the stream, how VortiX kind of came up with these small optimizations with things like this farm placement just being slightly better. Like, what did you say? Someone did the test, and after 10 minutes, they got 8 more food from it?
Yep. I mean, honestly, like, I just want to shout, like, I feel bad because I shouted him out on a previous stream, so maybe he'll forgive me. I can't remember the person's name off the top of my head, but, like, shout out to them. They know who they are for taking the time to actually do that, because I'm a very impatient player. I can guarantee you I would not be willing to sit there 10 minutes to measure and increase it. At the end, if I discovered it was just 8 food, I'd probably just turn my PC off and just, I don't know. I need to go watch some TV. I feel like I've wasted my time.
I just spent 30 minutes doing this, come on.
Yeah, because then you got to, like, confirm it, right? You can't just do it once.
Yeah.
Like, you go, okay, got to go again, and then I got to go. Like, you got to at least 3 times. Like, come on. I haven't got the patience for that. Shout out to people that do. They are more reasonable than me.
Yeah, looks like it's just going to be 2 farms in Dark Age for VortiX, and he's going to be dropping... Ooh,
well,
stone.
It's 1 villager right now, but that's a lot of people
yeah.
wood. So this could potentially still be the double TC. It is something that's been grown in popularity with most civs, and the English are included in that. And I feel it's one of the better civs to do it with, especially if you're up against a civ that usually doesn't get aggressive early on, like the Abbasids.
Yeah, he's starting to rally more vills to it as well, which seems like it is the second TC. We could, of course, be wrong, and it could just be 2 vills, and they're just for emplacements, but I guess we'll find out in a moment here.
Yeah, we definitely know that PuppyPaw is going for multi-TCs. I mean, come on, if you're an Abbasid player and you're not doing it, are you really an Abbasid player? Sorry, that's Abbasid peer pressure, I realize, but it is very true. Build your TCs, folks. It looks like the moment Scout is going to be harassed away, so PuppyPaw going to lose some of that vision game at this rate, because even if he does sneak in and see what VortiX is doing, the question mark is he going for the second TC right now? If you spot 4 people, you're probably just going to say, yeah, he's TC booming as well. Oh, and there we go. That should be the thumbs up. PuppyPaw's like, okay, you can die now if you want, Scout. You've done everything I need. And we almost did there. People always forget the villagers with their bows can actually catch you off guard quite easily. And it looks like, you know, we're talking about puppies all the time. It seems like my co-caster has been attacked by his cat. He should be back momentarily, which means we just have to do with my goofy voice in the meantime. And getting rid of these scouts is really important, by the way, folks. You have to remember that vision is a big part of the game. We're talking about an RTS that is all about counters, right? You want to be able to anticipate what your opponent's doing next and have the solution to it when they arrive. So stripping that vision away at this stage in the game pays 5 minutes down the line, big time. And right now, VortiX, this whole while, has been able to maintain vision over what his opponent is doing, informing him whether he's going 1 TC, 2, and because he's still gathering the stone, VortiX, he knows these timings too well. He can even check the stone outcrop and to confirm it. His opponent must be going for at least 3 TCs. Question mark is how many does VortiX want to go for? Usually you stop at 2 and then go for your King's Palace as your third. And I'm expecting that type of play, and it looks like he's actually switching over to the other side of the wood line next to the stone as well. So this could actually end up being 3 TCs. It's very loose out of VortiX, and while he's doing this, also pulling the villager to ensure that he applies some pressure and shrinks the options available to PuppyPaw, who wasn't going to take that option to the south side anyway. He's heading to the east corner. This is pretty this is high-level stuff to think about, folks. Like, they are instantly reacting to what each of them are doing. Like, this is an anticipation move. Logically, like, VortiX's best choice if he wants to outpost is on the south side. PuppyPaw doesn't want him to realize that value, and playing that back corner has layers upon layers of value. Not only will we be able to easily move out and wall up towards the central area of the mountain, but in doing so, you're actually going to get 2 small wood lines. You've got the huge amounts of stone reserves at the back and additional berries alongside a parked relic. So overall, a great situation for PuppyPaw where he's not going to be starved out of this game too soon. Speaking of starved, that vision might finally be starved, as it looks like VortiX has started to push out the longbowman. With that first outpost going up, you can see he wants to extract value, but once again, like, you know, look, I don't want to sound like a PuppyPaw fanboy, but you have to praise what he's done here. This is a really good layout. He shouldn't have exposed eco anytime soon. The wood is going to be a little bit fragile, but that's the importance of those small little patchwork forests in the back corner. He's going to have reserves before he's forced to rush out here and address what VortiX is doing. And he does see it now as well. He's like, okay, yep, I see what this is. These Englishmen, all they ever want to do is place outposts. And place arrows in your scout, so it looks like that is going to be the last scout going down. Now, PuppyPaw playing a blind game means VortiX has all the options available to him. Needs to be careful about the way that he skirts this line as well, because if he overinvests into the longbows, it's going to become very obvious to PuppyPaw that he's not scaling at all. And it means at that stage, Puppy just has to outlast the English aggression for 5 to 8 minutes, and then he can boom up ahead of him. For the time being, longbow pressure is going to be good. The attack speed buff is there as well. Ooh, that villager just about getting away. And it looks like PuppyPaw realizes he has to react now. While he has wood reserves, it's going to be the triple stable drop and the horseman push. And VortiX is already aware of this coming, so he's prepping a Rax in his base. Sorry, no, it's double stable into archery. All right, that's a little bit more balanced. That's a little bit more contained. There is a risk. You can't go spearman either as the Abbasids because you're up against the English. You just get blitzed, and that can be a frustrating detail of the early game for this matchup, is that if you do go into spears, you know, you've got the upside of your phalanx allowing you to have double the DPS of other side spears, but you're up against longbows. So it's just immediately off the table. You can't even consider that big element to exploit in the early game. And right now, these big elements, the horsemen, are able to exploit the slow reinforcement of these longbowmen, and that is a weakness of rushing these longbows, folks. Is they do take 1,000,001 years to get out here. I mean, if it wasn't for the string on their bows, you'd assume these are just old man's walking sticks, because they limp around at 1.12 movement speed per second. I mean, they can easily be chased down by horsemen. And good to know, by the way. This is really important what he's done here, because it means that PuppyPaw can get on the wood line. You'll notice he's actually on his northern wood line, which otherwise wouldn't happen if VortiX was already building the third outpost. Instead, this delay proving a little bit frustrating. Horsemen able to trade out for the spears, not too bad. He needs to be careful not to lose all of them, because you do want to maintain mid-flow And you have to remember that PuppyPaw, yes, these horsemen are good, but they're also pricey. 100 food each, and he is on limited resource reserves because he's not made a transition to farms, and if he ever wants to make that transition, he needs to get full control of these woodlines again. There's a lot of wood coming in. Eco lead is really building up for Puppy, so he's going to escalate. And I'm concerned as to whether VortiX has the solution right now. Like, you could try to just rush castle at this stage, because the outposts just aren't working anymore. The horseman flood through is going to be a problem as well, because the spearmen aren't on the front. You can see them marching on the top corner of the screen, but they are going to be a little bit too late across to assist here. And that buffer away, that breathing room, will get the defenses up and ensure that PuppyPaw will not be denied his wood in the next 5 minutes. VortiX will at least fall back for a more defensive outpost. Good thing about this is it does mean that he's going to get the aura. The attack speed is still very beneficial here. Reaching in with those lombos and sniping down a few villies. Making himself the big villain in this one. But now with archers stacking up this whole while. Oh, I got him back. Hello, Mitoe.
Sorry about that. Looks like we've got a spicy game on our hands here.
Wait. Make sure your comms is coming through the right device. It does sound slightly like you're in the toilet right now. Are you capturing from webcam by accident?
Probably one moment.
All right, I'll let him sort that out. Fight underway in the meantime. Horseman pushing him away. Now these lombos, they are protected up to 5, but anything past that, there's not enough garrison room for them all. It means they've got a long run away to safety here. Something that PuppyPaw is going to fully exploit. We'll shift away now. Remember, if he ever wants to build a ram, it's easy peasy. He already has the siege engineering research, but instead he rushes out with the villagers, trying to beat it to the punchline. Ariston's upgrade is coming through, but the amount of torch damage coming their way, it looks like this outpost will be going down. VortiX being buffered away. In the meantime, by the rest of the military force of PuppyPaw that is aggressing towards his base. And raids in the back as well, catching him in the middle of the farmland transition. And this is where it starts to get greedy and frustrating for VortiX. The worst time in the world to be caught out like this. The push in now, PuppyPaw in a position where he could choose to actually invest in a ram and get through that racks. And should you do that, there isn't going to be any sort of melee force that's going to be able to move out and burn down the rams in the future. And there's that ram we were expecting, so PuppyPaw is going to look to address those defenses. And the nice thing about delaying the way that PuppyPaw has, it means this one ram is going to get its worth. There is, I believe it's 4 outposts, and a house, I believe, on the front line. That's more than the cost of a ram, so it's a worthwhile trade at that point for PuppyPaw.
Yeah, things are starting to look good for PuppyPaw. Hopefully my microphone is sounding better now.
You sound beautiful. It's wonderful now.
Thank God. The power button on my computer is on the top of the case. And so occasionally my cat just comes up and sits on it in just the right spot, and then my computer turns off. I'm like, no, come on, why you do this during a cast?
Oh, I mean, I've had that. I've actually had that myself. So in the early days of casting, when Beyond the Summit were like scouting me and watching one of my casts, my cat climbed on top of my PC and turned it off. And all you could hear was, Mirana, no! Before I realized that actually it hadn't successfully shut down everything and I could cancel in time, which made the moment even worse.
That's hilarious. But getting back to this game, yeah, things are starting to look very much in favor of PuppyPaw. Almost a 25 villager lead for him at this point. And yeah, with those rams out, he's starting to clear out those towers in his base, and looks like he's starting to save up for Castle Age behind this as well.
Very healthy. Such a big eco lead. VortiX forced to reinvest. Now sidestepping in the farms that isn't even working. This is dire tides now for VortiX. It's very hard to see a clear way back unless you can maybe try to sneak castle yourself and go to man-at-arms. But even then, like the time it's going to take you to do that, PuppyPaw's already going to be there. You can see he's accrued the required resources. The tech is underway. And VortiX, honestly, it looks like they're in the middle of a famine in England right now because although his income looks good, his surplus is non-existent.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough on Altai, right? One of the ways you can get yourself back into a game from this far behind is to try and apply pressure like raids and stuff like that onto the exposed resources from your opponent. But on Altai, like, there's not a lot of angles you can really attack from to try and pick off these villagers, especially with how easy it is to wall on the sides of the map.
I love how disappointed those villagers looked after they killed the horse. Like, what do you mean we can't harvest this meat? Damn it. I want some Aldi's brand meat, damn it. Come on. Okay,
You are just to clarify, you are talking only about the horse, right? This is the second time potentially that you've mentioned cannibalism and Abbasid in the same stream.
I mean, I don't trust anyone that says they only eat berries, you know? Like, at some point, like, yeah, right. Hey, I mean, maybe they don't have protein in their diet, because if you think about it realistically, like, they only cost 25 food, so, like, their upbringing involved half the food of everyone else.
Could be.
There's something there. I just don't trust it. I do trust the power of what PuppyPaw has done here, though, and now here we go. VortiX, the tech up, the King's Palace at the front of his base. But he's going to be behind. You can see PuppyPaw is going to be complete before he is. And of course, in this situation is a benefit because as the Abbasid player, you're not investing villagers away from your production lines to get that tech up, which is why most of the time when you see an Abbasid player go for a tech up, by the time it's complete, they've built up surplus reserves. VortiX, on the other hand, won't have that same luxury.
Yeah, you can look at his resource bank, and it's basically down to nothing. Getting those upgrades when this King's Palace finishes is going to be tough for him for sure.
And now the Mangonels in the sneaky forest. It does, you know, if we go back to that, you can see it doesn't look very lethal, but it is lethal when you're in the game, when you don't have God vision. Like, imagine approaching this forest feeling safe, and then just 1,000,001 pebbles fall from the sky, which is exactly what happens as PuppyPaw is doing the summoning dance to get that siege force up.
Yep, also building some Ford towers to get that vision going. Always something you want to do when you're pushing across the map. And yeah, VortiX here, he's gonna have to come up with a plan to try and defend this. And it's gonna be hard. He's gonna need to get Springalds out as well as get all these upgrades, and it just seems like he doesn't have the money to do that at the moment.
And he's also going to have to remember to move his troops as well, not do what I'll dub the PuppyPaw when we last saw the Abbasids in this series.
Yeah, don't underestimate the Mangonels for a full. What was it, like 8 volleys?
Yeah, don't just yell, hold, hold. You're not Mel Gibson. It's not going to end well. And now this Fort Keep. Oh, my. Oh, my, oh, my. This is a heavy dose of irony coming towards VortiX. As the Abbasids is looking dominant in this series right now. VortiX not with the clear answer just yet. Small contingent of Longbow flanking around to the side, but they are going to be disappointed at this rate as the walls are being built up by PuppyPaw on the eastern flank. Even if you do strike in, like, how do you do enough damage here? The damage is being done to you. PuppyPaw, that's not how Mangonels work. Okay, this is starting to explain a lot about the last. They're not rams. Walls do go up as expected. It seems that PuppyPaw has discovered this is now a ranged unit. And we'll start to just clap the wood line of VortiX. Something that is going to hurt a lot, actually, because he doesn't even have reserves. So this could stunt his whole progress right now. Spears and Longbows, when I say those together, the first thing you're thinking about is wood.
Ooh, the wall's not complete.
Yeah, but the wraparound. Oh, no! There's so many horsemen. This is definitely not looking like the Battle of Agincourt. This is looking like a rerun of the history where the cavalry knew what was coming. And those aren't even heavy armored cavalry. It's just a one-sided affair, and everything is crumbling. VortiX, he's not waving that flag just yet, but with this new keep, if it goes up, it's going to be pretty much all over. Mangonels forcing him away. Eco line not working. Over 30 villagers idle, just shuffling to the back of the base, looking for the Great Migration. But there's nowhere to run, and there's nowhere to hide. PuppyPaw is coming for you.
Yeah, that keep is going to be near impossible to deal with. Building a market now in the back of the base for VortiX. I think he just bought stone with that, and he's going to try to build a keep somewhere to buy some more time, but where do you put it at this point? If you put it at the front, does it even go up?
We'd have to
he just deleted some buildings to make space.
Oh, no. Well, it's okay. The farm's going to die to Mangonels anyway. Here we go. Is this a doubt castle moment? Do we have our doubts about the success of this? Maybe, because the Mangonels can reach in and snipe those villagers. PuppyPaw does see this.
A lot of villagers on that keep, though.
It could be a lot dead as well, is the problem. It looks like it's going to be allowed.
Yeah.
PuppyPaw just says, yes, this is fine. I might be the puppy, but technically you're the one on the leash right now. He's just slowly burst through the buildings. He's trying to pop cap him. He's already done it. Look at VortiX's pop cap. He can't build more troops. He can't build more villagers.
And there's not really much VortiX can do to get this economy going. Again, he's going to have to rebuild those farms. He has that little pocket in the corner of the map where he's gathering that stone, but he doesn't have the ease of which to get the villagers back there. They're going to be gathering kind of on the front of the base where it's not defended by the town center or the keep, and if PuppyPaw recognizes that, he could be in big trouble with these villagers.
Well,
there's a tower there as well, he knows.
Yep, he knows there's nowhere he can go, and while that's happening, PuppyPaw is getting the trebuchets out. He's about to take the long route to killing off VortiX.
Trying to make a run for it. I don't know where those villagers are going.
Oh my god, he's going on the
building.
woodline
Okay,
right
he's just going to build a
him.
lumber camp in the middle of the map, I guess. That's not dangerous.
Hitting the doubt button right now. Not the player, but the word. I have my concerns about the success of this. And he thinks he's running away from the danger, but he's seen it all times, and now the wraparound with a few lances, that's enough to confirm it. VortiX realizes the stranglehold is complete. PuppyPaw will put 3 points on the board. You know, I just want to highlight these guys. Like, there's some credit to how long they hang in there. But I have to wonder at what stage it's just like you're starting to feel the hair vibrating out your skull. Because I think that's the second game in this series where we've seen a player hold on for a long time with no, like, clear goal, clear win condition, right?
Yeah, maybe just hoping for a miracle. Or maybe thinking about the next game, you don't know.